Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are group 1 from 2 Destry. We will presenting about our project, that is geometry calculator program with Python. Before we get into the presentation, we should like to introduce yourself first. Hello, my name is Destry Sulistyowati.
Hello, my name is Iskandar Syakir.
And my name is Muhammad Najwan Sulvadli. In this presentation, we will discuss four contents that are 1. System summary, 2. Flowchart, 3. Code or the source code, and the 4 is output. System summary. What is OOP? OOP stands for Object Oriented Programming, so it's a programming paradigm that relies on the concept of classes and objects. And the language we use for this project is Python, and it supports object-oriented programming concepts. This project will discuss about geometry calculator application. This application helps you to make calculation about geometry much easier and faster. Generally, this application calculates two-dimensional shapes and three-dimensional shapes. Then, we add feature to display formula each shapes and the games feature.
Flowchart. On the left is main menu flowchart, that is the flow of the main code. First start the main code, then calling the menu function to display the main menu, then input as a click button. There are calculator button, formula button, and games button. If click calculator button, then it will call calculator class. If click formula button, then it will call formula class. If click games button, then it will call games class. On the right side is calculator function. It will call when calculator button is clicked. Start with displaying what want to calculate a two-dimensional or three-dimensional shapes. Then if click two-dimensional, it will call two-dimensional class. Then if click three-dimension, it will call three-dimensional class. The left side is two-dimensional shapes flowchart that will calculate of two-dimensional shapes such as area and circumference length. First start with display two-dimensional menu and input menu. If click square, it will going to square calculation. If click rectangle, it will going to rectangle calculation. If click triangle, it will go to triangle calculation. If click circle, it will go to circle calculation. And if click rhombus, it will go to rhombus calculation. When one of them is clicked, then it will give an input and calculate both the area and circumference length. Next, to the right side, there is three-dimensional shapes flowchart that will calculate of geometry shapes such as volume and surface area. Same as two-dimensional, but the difference is the formula and the input. If click cube, it will go to cube calculation. If click cuboids, it will go to cuboids calculation. If click ball, it will go to ball calculation. If click cone, will go to cone calculation. If click pyramid, it will go to pyramid calculation. The left side is formula menu flowchart. First start displaying what we're gonna find out the formula. If click square, it will go to square formula. If we click rectangle, it will go to rectangle formula. If we click triangle, it will go to triangle formula. If click circle, it will go to circle formula. If we click rhombus, it will go to rhombus formula. If we click cube, it will go to cube formula. If we click cuboid, it will go to cuboid formula. If we click ball, it will go to ball formula. And if we click cone, it will go to cone formula. And the last one, if we click pyramid, it will go to pyramid formula. The right side is game flowchart. First display the registration and input our credentials for registration. After that, it gonna display question 1 and will given 5 selection button. One of them that the true answer will running some summation function, so on until question 6, then it will display the result.
Next to code or source code. This is main menu class or main menu frames. So, in this frame that are labeled for title, calculator button, formula button, games button, and exit button. So, it's basically the main menu of this program. This is calculator class or calculator frames. In these frames contains 2-dimension and 3-dimension button and back button. If we click either of it, it will call the frames that we clicked.
Next is two-dimension shapes frames and three-dimension shapes frames. Each of it consists of the shapes button and the back button. If we click the shapes of it, it will call the shapes frames that consist of the calculator frame. Next, this is the shape class. There are square, rectangle, triangle, circle, and rhombus as the two-dimension shapes classes, and cube, cuboids, ball, cone, and pyramid as the three-dimension shape classes.
This is formula class. On the left side is the choosing frame of the shapes that wanted to. On the right side is the shape of formula classes. The F is stand for formula. There are F square, F rectangle, F triangle, F rhombus, F circle, F cube, F cuboid, F ball, F cone, and F pyramids. Next is games. Consists of registration class, question 1 until 6 classes, and result class or frames. The reg.txt function is to get the player credentials from entry and save it to txt file. The player file name format is player name and their number registration. The update point function is to submission the player point. It will call when the right answer button is clicked. Loss is update file. Function is to update the player file with their points. It will call when question 6 is done. Last is application class. This class is to manage the application window itself. The third last line is the driver code that will run and loop the application class, and it will break the loop when the window is closed.
Last topic is output. These are the output or when the code is running. At the left is the main menu and the right is when the calculator button is clicked. Next, at the left is when the two-dimensional shapes button is clicked. The right is when square button is clicked. Next, at the left when the rectangle button is clicked. Next to three-dimensional shapes button is clicked. At the left is when the cube button is clicked and the right side is when cone button is clicked.
Back to main menu, the left image is when the formula button is clicked and the right side is square formulas. Next, at the left side is the rectangle formula and the right side is the triangle formula.
Okay, now next is to the games. The left side is when the games button is clicked, so it will give an registration input to input our credentials. And the right side is when the registration is failed. And after click next, it will make player file with the format name and number registration .txt. Left side is question 1 and the right side is question 2. The answer of question 1 is B and the question 2 is C. Next, the left side is question 3 and the right side is question 4. The answer of question 3 is D and the question 4 is D. The last of the question, the left side is question 5 and the right side is question 6. The answer of question 5 is C and the question 6 is D. After the question 6, it will save the point of the player and update into the player file. Then it will display at the result page. Okay, now I will explain the program when the program is running. So I run the program and the program is running right now. So basically This program has three features that are calculator, formula, and games. I will explain it sequentially from the first to the last, calculator to the games. Okay. Now we click calculator, and it will given what do we need to calculate between two-dimensional shapes and three-dimensional shapes. So I'll click two-dimensional shapes, and we choose what the one we calculate between square, rectangle, triangle, circle, and rhombus. Example, I want to calculate a square, so it will give an input an entry of the side length. Example, I input 7 and click calculate, and the answer is automatically calculated and displayed as label, the area and the circumference length. What if I input 0? Yes, it will calculate it automatically too, so because the 0 is a float number. But what if empty? What will not calculate? If we click calculate, it will give an error label, something went wrong, and the area and the circumference length is nothing. So it must to have the and it so it will so it must to input this entry. We can get back to two-dimensional shapes. Example, we get to rectangle shapes. This is have two entry. So example, I input 7 and 1 and 10. If we click calculate, and the area and the circumference length answer, it will automatically calculated. If the one of the entry is empty, it will give an error label, something went wrong, because this empty, so it will not gonna calculate anything. And yes, it must to fill the entry. Back to the calculator. Now try to three-dimensional shapes. Example, cube. We input 7, calculate. Yes, the volume and surface area. If empty, it will give an error. 0, it will calculate it because 0 is float number. If we get to the pyramids, input side is 4, input height example 10, and calculate, and this the volume and the surface area. Okay, that's for the calculator. And next to the formula. So the formula is the formula of we used for this program calculator before. So the square, if we click square, so it will given the area formula, circumference formula of each square, and the S is stands for the side. Back to formula, rectangle, wide, length, area, circumference formula, cube, volume and surface area, ball, volume and surface area, R stands for radius, and so on. Next is to the games. So in these games, if we click games, it will given games registration input. We used to input our credential as name, age, number registration, and address. Example, I input my name, my age, my number registration, example 1, 2, 3, and 4, address, Jakarta. And if we click next, so in the background it will the program it will make a file, txt file, that write our credential, my credential, name, number registration, age, and address. And also the file name is based on my name, and from the name and number registration. As you can see, this is the same Muhammad Najwan, and number registration 1234.txt. So if we click the C question, it will given the question 1, number question 1 is B, question 2 is D, question 3 is D, question 4 is D, question 5 is C, and question 6 is D. So after the question 6 on the button, it will update the file with my point, that the answer point, the correct answer, the correct answer. And so the my point is 6. And we can see the result. Click the see result here, and the file of this in txt file on the folder, it will display at the program. Your point is 6. Okay, now example, what if we made new players, name example Jason Iskandar. Age 19, number registration we can different it for 40 to 1, and the address is Jakarta 2. And if we click next, it will given the new txt file with his name Jason Iskandar 48 to 1, 40 to 1. And what if we we true one of 6 question. Example, question 1 is true, and question 2 is false, 3 is false, 4 is false, 5 is false, and the 6 is true. So his point is only get 2 because the correct answer is only 2 question at the 2 question, and as a result it will given the result, and your point is 2. And that's for the program. We can back to main menu, and that's for the program. Thank you for watching.
Alright, and that's so the presentation of our project. We hope this presentation will be beneficial for all of us. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And don't forget to subscribe.